I'd like to bring to your attention a Council on Foreign Relations movie Wargame. It's from the early 1980s, and the reason it's relevant is because it still happens. That movie from 2024, Wargame, we're going to go after here in a bit. This CFR Wargame is called Countdown to Looking Glass. It's about a fictional conflict that breaks out in the Middle East that ends up escalating, involving the Soviet Union and the United States, and ends up in a nuclear war. You can just change some of the names as you go on this. Some of these feel like they've been taken out of today's headlines because the more things change, the more they stay the same. It's quite fascinating to look at the process of escalation and the mindset of the people involved, because the people involved in this are the people who would actually be involved. I'm going to give you a quick list of some of the people who appear in this as themselves. They don't pretend to be somebody else. They appear as themselves, and they are wargaming their likely response in this wargame scenario for you on video. Eric Severide, famous news anchor. Newt Gingrich. We all know who Mr. Newt is. Paul Warneke. Robert Ellsworth. Lincoln Bloomfield. Eugene McCarthy. Jean LaRocque. Most of these people are confirmed Council on Foreign Relations. Now, there's a couple. Lincoln Bloomfield I wasn't able to confirm, and Eugene McCarthy. However, we know Newt Gingrich is, we know Paul Warneke is, we know Ellsworth and Severide are. 100%. They are listed on the Council of Foreign Relations website at one point. This is the first 50 seconds of the video. We're not going to watch the whole thing. It's an hour and a half. I do encourage you to watch the movie. It's very good. It's interesting to see the mindset of the powers that be, because these people are responding how they would actually respond in this situation as presented to them in this. Now, this is just the first few minute.
The program you are about to see is based on a war game developed with the help of military experts and advisors. Its purpose is to inform, not to alarm. You will witness a series of events reported by the evening news on television, a series of events that could lead us to the brink of World War III. At this moment, flying over the United States is a military airborne command plane. It is a communication outpost for the President and Strategic Air Command. It is capable of transmitting orders to U.S. forces across the world during a nuclear confrontation. Its code name is Looking Glass.
That's just the first 50 seconds of it. It, like I said, it's an hour and a half or so. It's a very interesting watch. Like I said, you get to see the reaction of these people as they would do it in, essentially in real life. Because they still do this. There's the movie Wargame that recently came out that we're going to go through in just a moment. That was based on the insurrection riot back in the past. And the people involved in that are the same type of people that are involved in this. Now, this is the very end of this movie. It's basically the last minute, and I'll show you that.
Our voices will be replaced by official government voices of the emergency broadcasting system. Until that time, this is a news organization, and we shall continue to serve you with the best reporting our facilities and staff can muster. Here is a bulletin that's just come in. The President's Emergency Airborne Command Post is now taking off from Andrews Air Force Base. Flying high over the United States, it will join another airplane carrying members of the Strategic Air Command. They will attempt to maintain communications with United States forces throughout the world. The codename of the second airplane is Looking Glass.
We interrupt this program. This is a national emergency. Important instructions will follow. This is an emergency action notification message. This station has interrupted its regular programming at the request of the White House to participate in the emergency broadcast system. During this emergency, most stations will remain on the air broadcasting news and official information to the public in assigned areas. This is the CVN News Network. We will remain on the air. You are listening to the emergency broadcasting system.
And that's how it ends. I do have to say, for the era that it was made in, it's very good. The writing is pretty good. And it does pull you in. As you can see, a lot of similarities between today's headlines and when this story took place. Now, again, the reason this is relevant is because the people who did that kind of war game are still doing it. And they're still doing it for you to see. So this way you can get a mindset, an idea of the mindset of the people involved. We're going to run the trailer for this movie.
Fellow Americans, it is undeniable that this past election was stolen. To all those members of the armed forces, join with us to defend our liberty and land.
Seated around this room is an incredible diversity of professional experience spanning the last 5 presidential administrations. Most of you have sworn under oath to defend the Constitution. What happens when those in uniform break that oath?
And regardless of your thoughts about what they're going to discuss here, it's a very interesting mental exercise. I found this to be a fascinating movie. Again, no matter what side you're on, to get a glimpse of the mindset of the people involved is really the point. It's really the point. And this is a good insight into the mindset of the people involved.
January 6th demonstrated a possible false sense of security.
The next insurrection could involve members of the active duty military turning their weapons around on the folks that they're there to protect. One of the recommendations was to wargame what that might look like.
I am President Hotham, Chief Executive of the United States of America.
You have 6 hours to avert a civil war and ensure the peaceful transfer of power.
Mr. President, we are going to be starting the game in 3.
We are here to stress test our national security system.
1.
I want them to be prepared for the worst case scenarios.
I have no idea if, at the end of this exercise, this country collapses or comes together.
Where would we like to send a large body of armed crazies?
Capitol.
Who are confirming that there are National Guard that have, in fact, let protesters through.
I'm going to flood the zone with fake pictures, guys.
Very difficult to find out what is real and what is...
And there were actual images of that?
It is not compromising the proceedings of the election.
Yeah, it is compromising the proceedings of the election. The entire Congress is still in a bunker.
Now they're playing the game.
Everybody back to the table.
You can authorize lethal force.
Pause for just a second. Is that correct? You could have federal...
We've done it on the southwest border.
He's going to have to make a decision.
Put your f***ing cards on the table.
The United States could be on the brink of a second civil war.
Well, you've pissed off a lot of senior-ranking folks from all 5 presidential administrations.
Doing my job.
Great job.
Yeah.
Fascinating mental exercise. And the reason I bring up that it's the people involved is because when you go through the list of the people involved in the movie Wargame, it very much resembles the exact same list out of Countdown to Looking Glass, in that they are clearly in the powers that be. Steve Bullock was a governor, Democrat. Wesley Clark, we all know who General Wesley Clark was. Heidi Heitkamp, Doug Jones, and Mr. Bill Kristol himself. So I wanted to bring this countdown to Looking Glass to your attention. I've known about it for a long, long time, and I've always found it fascinating as an insight into the powers that be and what their reactions in this type of situation would be. And as we approach possible confrontation with Iran, Russia, you name it, it's nice to have a little bit of an insight and going back in time, seeing how that evolution has taken place. And then watching the movie Wargame kind of puts the powers that be in under a microscope as to how they would react under that situation. I have a number of these that I know of, and I'm probably going to do a few more of these videos just to bring them to you so a little more light is shed upon them. And it's my hope that you'll watch them and enjoy them. They are entertainment. These are only mental exercise war games, and they are entertainment. Not to be taken too seriously, but to just give you an insight. I hope you liked it. If you did, hit the like, share it with a friend, and I appreciate you. Thank you.